Live.
Okay, now let me make you co-host. Fab. We have liftoff.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. So welcome to our live. Me, Anne-Marie, owner of Soul Awakening Academy, and my beautiful spiritual mama, Nicola Crawford. And what's your business name, Nicola? Etas Botanicus still?
No, change. I'm just going under my own name at the moment. I kind of ditched that about 6 months ago. So yeah.
So it's, yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting. So it's under your own name, Nicola Crawford.
Oh, I better take the mask off.
No, well, you're doing it under your own name is really good. So if you're here, say hello. And if you have any questions for us, we're going to look at astrology and tarot. We're going to see what's going on in the sky, because there's an awful lot of shizzle going on up there, as above, so below. So, you know, Nicola got me into astrology many years ago simply by reading my own birth chart, and it just blew my mind, and it's been a passion of mine ever since. So we're looking at five years ago, maybe something.
Oh God, I don't know. It's just blown,
6 years ago is my little girl.
Crazy. Whole perception of time's just gone.
I've aged. You haven't aged a bit.
Oh,
See,
I have.
every
time I go on a live, I keep thinking, must get a hair dye.
It's horrible, isn't it?
I can't be asked, honestly.
Oh, I know.
My vanity has gone. It has gone.
Yeah, it's definitely going with me. So we're going to look at, because we've just had a new moon, haven't we? Or is it happening now in Pisces?
Yeah, I've got the new moon chart. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
So interesting. You know, my daughter, it was her birthday. She's a leap year baby. And what I've noticed in her over these last few days, she has Neptune conjunct Sun in Pisces.
Right.
And she has just turned into this actress over the last few days, and it's in her 10th house, conjunct her MC. And she's just turned into this singing, dancing, acting. I'm like, that's just triggering like her like flamboyancy.
I can see all your balloons in the background. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, she had a great time. But yeah, she's just blossomed into this actress. And I was just thinking, I wonder if it's that moon that's really kind of triggering those energies in her.
Absolutely. Yeah, no two ways about it.
So let's have a look at what's going on, because there's obviously more than that. But
yeah, let me share the chart for this new moon. If you're in the UK, okay, why isn't that coming up as? If you're in the UK, this moon was last night about 5:30. So we're still getting the waves of that now. And so today is if you haven't done it already, today's a really good day to set some intentions for the next month, because when we get a new moon, the energy informs that month. But for Pisces people, or strongly Pisces people, if you've got a rising sign in Pisces or a moon in Pisces, I would set 12-month intentions, but definitely Pisces sun, set those 12-month intentions. So this is the chart for this lunation. So again, for those of you who are new to astrology, when the moon is at the same degree as the sun, we get a new moon, and you can see that they're both at 12 degrees of Pisces. And that's why the moon on a new moon goes dark, because the moon just gets her light from the sun. So when she's so close to the sun, she doesn't get that refraction of light. So she goes dark for a couple of days. And then I would say later today, you'll start seeing the first little sliver of new moon in the sky. And that's when you start acting on your intentions. So there's a lot going on in this chart. And, you know, Anne-Marie, chip in with this.
I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, so much going on. For a start, this new moon in Pisces was very close to Jupiter. And Jupiter is the ancient ruler of this sign as well. So it just magnifies the energy of something new happening at this time. It also had energy feeding in from Uranus, and we know what a big player Uranus is this year. So we can say that there's going to be unexpected stuff happening around this month. But also Uranus is very much this energy of insight and awareness and awakening. So events this month are going to awaken us onto a higher level. I mean, you know, we talk about those of us as being awake and those of us who are not awake. But every day I learn something where I'm questioning, you know, what it means to be aware and awake, and do we really know what's going on? So expect the unexpected this month, I would say. So also new moon sets, you know, you get a new moon in a sign and then a full moon 6 months later. So around September the 10th, we have a full moon in Pisces. So the next 6 months are going to be absolutely key to some kind of spiritual awakening, some kind of spiritual revolution, not just on a planetary awakening sense, but also in your own life as well. So have a look at where 12 Pisces falls in your own chart. Now, it just so happens that at this time, we also have this meetup of Saturn and Mercury. So going live today probably isn't a great idea because Mercury is our speech and communication.
Oh,
Saturn is with Mercury. It kind of puts the kibosh on that. It's more difficult to form thought, form word, communicate with people, get your ideas out there. But Mercury's moving quite fast at the moment. So in a couple of days, he will be moving away from that influence of Saturn.
yeah.
But more interestingly, because we always take note, when we see a new moon chart or a full moon chart, we always have a look at what the other planets are doing, because that imprints the month. It's like a birth chart, if you like, for the month ahead. So the biggie is this meetup of Venus and Mars, the masculine and feminine, with Pluto at 27 degrees of Capricorn, the late degrees of Capricorn.
Yeah.
Now, this is really interesting in so many ways, because this is very, very indicative of forces coming together to accelerate the dissolution that Pluto is enacting on the world as we know it.
Yeah.
So we know that all these paradigms and constructs are breaking down right now. But this meetup at 27 degrees is incredibly powerful towards the acceleration of that. Now, the other thing is that America has just had its Pluto return, which is at 27 Capricorn. So this is reanimating that degree of the Pluto return of America.
Yeah.
So whatever is going on in the world at the moment, whatever we can superficially see, we know that something big is going on underneath that is accelerating world events, and the hand of America is very much in that. And I still maintain that this year, and certainly between this new moon now and September, we're going to see some massive events arising in America and around American politics and American people. So there's all this going on. News cycle. We've got Jupiter here accelerating towards Neptune for their meetup in April, which again is another huge spiritual portal. We've got some really strong months coming up. But I was looking at the degrees of these signs, because there was a psychic medium called Elsie Wheeler who downloaded images for every sign, for each 360 sign of the zodiac wheel. And sometimes you know they're useful to look at to get some more information about what is going on. They're called the Chandra symbols.
Oh yeah.
So Capricorn 27, where this Pluto, Mars, and Venus is the actual Chandra message for that is pilgrims climbing the steps towards a mountain shrine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that we are the pilgrims. We are the pilgrims who are climbing this mountain shrine. And so a lot is being asked of us at this time on a spiritual level to actually go in and go deep and to actually determine how we are going to keep climbing towards these loftier goals, if you like,
Yeah.
with everything that's going on in the world at the moment that's meant to distract us. And it gets a little bit more interesting when you look at the degree, the Chandra symbol for the new moon, which was 12 degrees Pisces, which is an examination of initiates. So again, there's this like quasi religious theme going on where we're being initiated into something by going through these tests of now, and our response to them, we're being initiated, we're being watched, we're being judged, we're being valued as to what our actions are at this time. And it definitely is a time now for taking action and for moving forward and getting your plans off the ground. But Pisces is all about compassion. It's all about your spirituality. It's all about doing things for others instead of being, you know, just in the 3D ego and doing things for me, like, oh God, you know, I've got to store up everything and just like, you know, keep my food to myself because there's food shortages coming and this sort of thing. This initiation is asking us, and it's saying we're going to be judged on this. What are we planning to do for other people? What are we planning to do for our communities? So this is really, really important. And when we look at the next degree, because actually this moon was at 12 degrees 7 minutes, so it's heading towards the 13th degree of Pisces, then we look at the Chandra symbol for this. And this is actually a woman asleep in a ring of flames. And then there's also these degrees were also there was another guy called Elias Longsdale who did his own degrees that he said that he downloaded and tapped into. So this is a little bit long, but I think this is really, really important. Drama, color, sound, magnitude, and shakings. You dream through it all in an enchantment which simultaneously protects and stifles an ancestral power of suspended life force held away while great events surround and envelop you, yet do not penetrate. You experience a most unusual soul disposition of deep sleep in the teeth of collective and ancestral events and experiences which are huge and never ending. Is it a grace or a curse? It can be either. It becomes a grace if you awaken in ripe timing and move on from here. It can be a curse if you stay down under too long and miss the cue to stir and look around and discover that the future has dawned and the old ways have fallen away. Sleeper, awake.
Yeah.
So effectively, the Chandra symbol for New Moon Pisces 12 is a sword in an ancient sword in an old museum. But then Elias Longsdale is saying that this is about an awakening and about a realization of your power and using it in a positive way, because it can be a grace or a curse.
Yeah.
And so I thought that this was really quite potent, this idea of this ancient sword used in many battles displayed in museum, because if we think about the whole images around swords that we have, the whole analogies, and we get things like Excalibur. And what was Excalibur about? You know, Excalibur, exactly. Excalibur was about somebody who could only release this if they were in their sovereign state, if they were true to themselves, if they were good of heart, if they were the rightful heir, if they'd done the work on themselves, then they could release Excalibur. You know, so I think that's very true. And then we have things, of course, like the the lightsaber swords that were used in Star Wars, you know, by the Jedi. And this was all about using your personal force through training, that
And
you
of
had to
course,
go through initiations and training to be able to effectively use these, you know, the power.
yeah, and the sword reminds me of Mercury. So
Yes.
the sword reminds me of the mind. You know, we see it in the tarot, and it's all about the mental activity, which is representative of Mercury. So Mercury is the way that we think, the way that we communicate. So, you know, this whole reality that we're in is seen through the power of the mind. You know, the hologram is kind of there through the power of our mind. So it reminds me a bit of that. It's like, what are you thinking? What thoughts are you allowing yourself, or are you allowing to enter and be part of your reality and your environment? But the stone, we teach it on chakra alchemy. It's a course that I run, that we alchemize all the negative imprinting that we've had throughout the chakras, and we look at what alchemy is, you know, the philosopher's stone, and how it is that you know, it just, the more and more I go into it, and the more and more I delve into, you know, what I can about the mysteries of the universe, it's you know, these experiences that we have, you know, this is potentially the reason why we want to be here in the first place, even though they can be as negative as fuck, and like almost kill us off, and we think, what the hell? But that, you know, they're the reasons why we're here. But if we don't ascend through those emotions, then they
Exactly.
are the chains that we see in the devil's card that falsely keep us trapped, because we can let anything go that we want to.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
let our emotions go. We can rise through.
Yeah.
We can alchemize.
And you know, and Pisces is definitely the sign of that, you know, alchemization, if that's the word, that alchemy. But it's also about things being hidden. And you know, Neptune in Pisces is tripping us up and kind of throwing a veil over things, so we can't see things clearly. So it really feels like, with this, you know, with these planets at 27 Capricorn, and this ascending the mountain to this more spiritual place, and these kind of allegories, and the allegories of the sword, and the allegories of initiation, that we are going on some kind of quest, that everything that's happening at the moment is some kind of personal quest, and that we're supposed to rise above these challenges. Now, you know, the distraction that's going on evidently is what's happening over in,
Yeah.
you know, Ukraine.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of this stuff that's happening at the moment that is meant to distract and dissuade us from actually focusing on developing our personal power. And, you know, because our emotions are being pulled around by that. And there is, you know, I'm not saying that people aren't being hurt, but we don't fully know what's going on over there. And there's an awful lot of propaganda that's coming out of that region at the moment. And so this is you know, there's a big test that's going on that's meant to pull you off your path, just as we were going through this ring of fire, and we're, you know, awakening from the sleep in the ring of fire. These, you know, these massive tests to stop us waking up fully to what we came here to do.
Yeah. I mean, everything that's going on in Pisces at the minute is just indicative of a huge mass spiritual awakening. Are the Chandra symbols the same as the Sabian symbols, or do they give a different meaning?
Yeah, there's different meanings, but when you overlay them, when you get the Chandra and the Sabian and the Elias Longdales, and there's a couple of others as well that don't spring to mind, but they all seem to like fit some kind of, I mean, of course we can, everything is symbols and dreams and meaning, and, you know, but they do seem to lock together to form a picture of, you know, something that you can actually go and meditate on, and just think about, well, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
You know, so when you get a big event happening at a certain degree, like this 27-degree Capricorn activation at the moment, is so important. It gets activated 3 times this year. Well, one was in February, and then June, and then December, with this Pluto return for the states. It's so important that you think, right, okay, what does that mean? And when Pluto was in lower degrees, there was a lot that was about the dissolution and the crumbling of things that we know, you know, and that was around the early 2020, when all this started to, you know, be ushered in. And so they do tell a story, they do tell a picture that is, you know, very salient. I don't use them all the time, I use them sometimes.
Yeah. Was it 22 Neptune? That was the other symbol.
12, what that I mentioned
Yeah.
today, that was 12 of Pike, where the new moon is.
I wonder what 22 Neptune is. I might have a look for some reason.
Yeah, 22. I don't know off the top of my head what 22 Pisces is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that will be the degree more or less that the conjunction happens with Jupiter. In fact, I did look it up. I did look it up when I was writing the yearlies, and there's a lot to do, especially you know, being in Pisces, with water and this kind of thing. I think we're heading to some big kind of yeah, I hate to say disaster event, but you know, the Neptune and Jupiter coming together is 2 of the biggest spiritual planets meeting up together in the most spiritual sign. So spiritual growth often comes through adversity, and how we manage our emotions and our actions in times of crisis, either personal crisis or collective. And I think April is a time to watch for that there will be things that are happening on a world scale that that will really kind of test us, because when we go into fear and anxiety, it's the lowest spiritual vibration, where, you know, I'm not saying stick your head in the sand with what's going on, but being pulled around by witnessing others' experiences that we can do very little about takes our personal energy down at a time when it needs to be really high. You know, we need to know that we are the Force, we are the Jedi, we are these, you know, energy conductors, and that we can't let that light go out through despair.
Yeah, definitely through despair, through fear, through scarcity. I better keep this for me because it looks like there's going to be a shortage. Yeah, all of those things. So what would you tell people to look, like, where is their main areas kicking off? If you're still watching us, let us know if you know where your Pisces house is, where your Capricorn house is. So and even your Aquarius house as well. They're like the main ones at the minute, aren't they?
I would say so, but it's kind of, it's all happening within a few signs. It's all happening between, you know, Capricorn and Taurus up to mid-year, because yes, we, you know, really keep an eye on what's going on in these late degrees of Capricorn, and then by Sunday, Venus and Mars move into 0 degrees Aquarius.
Okay.
So that's a new, you know, away from the influence of Pluto. So that's about, you know, how can we start putting new cycles in place where we feel complete, where we feel together, you know, and it's about trying new things. You know, we had that whole Venus retrograde, didn't we, through December and January, where it was like, I really don't want this in my life. I don't want these relationships in my life. I don't want these things in my life. And now it's about, right, okay, I've learned lessons from that period, December and January. You know, what new things am I initiating now? Because Aquarius, not especially at the 0 degrees, all about the new cycles, newness, new relationships, even for some people. So yes, Capricorn, Aquarius is really, really important. You know, we've still got Saturn and Uranus in play in square for most of the year, even though it's wider than last year, and we've spoken about that. All the stuff going on in Pisces at the moment until the sun moves into Aries on the 20th, which is a new cycle of the spring equinox. But then notice also that everything that's happening down in Capricorn is actually tying into the North Node of Fate. So a lot of the decisions that you're making over the next couple of months is really going to change your karmic path and direction.
Yeah.
In a big way, I think, in a big, big way. It's a very, very steady. And it is about what you said about kind of like not thinking, oh, I've just, you know, food shortages are coming and prices are going to be rising, and it's about stashing stuff away in the garage just for me. It's not about that. It's about, you know, what is Pisces? It's about service, compassion and service to others. So it's like, how are you positioning yourself over the next few months to be in service and be in compassion to other people? Because if you don't, it's all going to go wrong. And it's like, you know, in here, is it a grace or it can be a curse? You know, if you choose to stay asleep, it's going to become a curse. You know, instead of like the you know, a really good kind of use of power and Excalibur, it'll become like the sword of Damocles.
Yeah, because Capricorn in the American chart is in their 7th house, isn't it? They're Cancer ascendant, so like me, Cancer ascendant, Capricorn on the descendant.
Yeah,
so that's all about the others, isn't it? All about other people.
Others. Yeah.
So all of that change there that's happening for them. I mean, I don't know what's playing out for them right now, but it'll be seen anyway as things go on. But has the dollar dropped? Well,
the dollar is dropping. And you know, I mean, the basic thing is that America is skint. There's trillions in debt, which is not sustainable. So what happens? You know, let's start. You know, if anyone thinks that America doesn't have a very strong hand in what is going on with the war at the moment, then, you know, you need to look into it. You know, they don't have the money there to start wars, and yet that's exactly what they, you know, exactly what they are doing effectively. So yeah, but there's a whole complexity around this dollar crash thing. Yeah, it's, you know, very far down the rabbit hole that I won't go into at the moment, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so if people look for what's happening in their chart, especially Pisces, I mean, for example, Pisces is in my 9th house. So that's like 9th house of teaching, philosophy, higher learning, travel. I've also got my Venus there. So Venus and Pisces is like unconditional love, really. So it's like being devoted. So right now, like this year, because I've got the sun, the moon, my Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, all in that Pisces house right now. So all I want to do right now is learn more. It's like, I just, you know, I want to learn more, and I'm going deeper and deeper into things which are blowing my mind. So this afternoon, I'm learning how to do like entity release and, you know, all that kind of stuff through hypnotherapy. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm looking into Tantra and, you know, the energy nadis in our body and how we can move like pranic energy, which is just unbelievable. So there's so much that's opening up to me, but you will feel it individually where you are feeling this pull and this calling, and it's a pull and a calling away from the logical mind, because believe me, I am very Capricorn. I have my sun in Capricorn, I have Mars and Mercury. So it has to be logical for me in some way, shape or form. But this pull towards opening your mind, you will feel it too. But I guess it depends on where it is in someone's chart. So if it's in their like 4th house of home, they might want to just be all encompassing the home or their internal world, what's going on with their own foundations.
Yeah,
So it's all
ancestry.
subjective to the house, isn't it? It's
I will completely second that. Have a look where, I mean, Pisces is this kind of like it's supposed to be two fish swimming in opposite directions. So there's always conflict with Pisces. But this is the symbol. So if you go onto astro.com, you can find out where this is happening in your own chart, but also have a look at the 12th house, which is a Pisces ruled house, because that is also being activated strongly at the moment as well. But I completely agree, Anne-Marie, that this is about us moving away from practical logic, and going into trusting intuition and the heart center to figure this out. It's not about knowing, it's just about feeling.
I'm going to have a look at, because of the 12th house. Hang on, let me see if my internet wants to play games. I'm going to have a look for that 22 Neptune, because it's so 12th house and Neptune's in Pisces, and I'm going to see what that means.
Yeah, this first half of the year, there is so much going on. There is so much going on, and it's just, there is no logical way through this, because everything, if you think that things have been a little bit crazy so far, they're about to get, a damn sight with all this Pisces energy. They're about to get a little bit crazy, and I think that is this month. I don't think we're talking about, oh, wait till June. I think March and April are going to be pretty spectacular, if that's the right word, in terms of things happening that we just don't understand at all logically. If you look at it, it's just like, there will even be things, and a really good time to tap into kind of symbols and dreams, again ruled by Pisces. But there'll be things happening on a world scale that's just like, I don't understand that. And we're all going through it. I'm kind of like, I'm looking at certain situations, I'm going, I don't get who the players are, I don't get why that's happening, I don't get why they've made that move, I don't understand that, etc., etc. And in a way, it's not about that, it's not about kind of being logical, because none of this is logical.
No, and no one really knows the truth anyway. We're all drip fed. I can't find Neptune, but I can see 22 Pisces, and it says a man bringing down the new law from Sinai, Sinai. I don't know what that means.
Sinai, Mount Sinai. So again, more religious kind of meaning to that. The new word. It's not the old world. It's not Moses coming, or coming down, and giving the gospel. This is like the new word. So that's really interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
The old methods are not working at the moment.
No. Sarah says, let's have a look. Lucy's got midhaven in Pisces.
Right.
Capricorn, Sun, Uranus, Neptune, Lilith, and North Node. I think you might have read for Lucy, I'm not sure. Sarah said, I had a terrible time with a new job from October until end of Jan. This made me look away to change things, and I applied for another job, which I felt more aligned with my needs. At the same time, I reached out to her ex-manager, who then gave me a contact for another job, which I was offered. I finally feel things are moving on, as Nicola says.
Yeah. I mean, that is the real key. The real key is to keep focusing on your dreams and make sure that they are your dreams. Make sure that it is, heart-centered, whatever it is you're about to do. And that you're not just doing something because, without allowing yourself to just dissolve in a puddle of fear. And the number of people who have been contacting me over the last few days about how I think everything's going to end with this conflict and everything. People have just gone into real fear about it.
Yeah, which is so sad everyone, the whole planet. It's so sad because everybody's having just fear after fear after fear after fear after fear. You know, some people just cannot handle it. I mean, COVID destroyed so many people's mental health anyway. And now another, I mean, who said, you know, I don't give a shit if Facebook shut me down. What fucking leader sends people into war? What kind of leader does that?
Right. Well, it's very interesting, the whole thing about he, should we call him, because a lot of people see him as some kind of, you know, a savior against everything that's happening at the moment. Which you know, the thing is,
I'm not saying that going after him, because I admit I'm awake enough to know I know fuck all about the reality of anything.
Love that. I'm awake enough to know I know fuck all.
Yeah, so I'm not pointing fingers at that leader, that leader. I'm just saying any leader who sends that people into war.
What we do know, and you know,
should not be a leader.
Maybe not sit well with a lot of people, but I really believe this to be true, is that all leaders, to a greater or lesser extent, are gangsters. You know, and there are no external saviors riding in to save anybody. If he is outside the paradigm of what's going on at the moment, then he's just battling to accrue his own position. You know, as the world breaks down, which it is doing, you know, there's going to be these kind of tribal conflicts going on over, you know, who has the most power.
Yeah.
And so if he is, you know, fighting, you know, the people who are behind everything else that's been going on in the last 2 years, then it's doesn't mean that it's a better solution.
No. Anyone, a leader deserves respect when they can be humanitarian and do the best thing for everybody involved.
I mean, what really worried me yesterday was, I don't know whether you saw the House of Commons, and the ambassador to the Ukraine came on. He was in the House of Commons, and everybody, to a woman, stood up and they were all applauding him. Well, look into Ukraine. It's one of the biggest shill operations. You know, anybody who thinks that, you know, what's he called, the president, can't remember his name, is a good guy. Oh my God, this is what I mean. And this is so Neptune. It's like layers within layers within layers of kind of obfuscation and deceit, and you know, so all you can do is use that Pisces energy to go in.
Yeah, I've been watching Suits on Netflix. That's been showing me a lot about, wow, this is like, if you've got the upper hand, all you need to do is just get power over people, and they'll, like, everybody's got a corrupt bone in their bodies, me included. You know, I'm not saying I'm a saint, you know, that's how it goes, but I certainly don't send my children off to go and kill the neighbor's children because,
yeah, but I mean, the thing is, there's wars going on all over. Look at you know, look at what the Saudis are doing. They're bombing everyone in the Yemen. I mean, you know, these people, I mean, America are dropping bombs on other countries as we speak. There was recently a load of bombs dropped, wasn't there, in Nigeria? I mean, you know, I mean, it's just like, it's like one never-ending conflict. You know, you can feel compassion and empathy for the people who are caught up in this. Yes, but certainly, I mean, my God, our foreign minister, Liz Truss, telling Brits to, like, get themselves over to the Ukraine and fight with the Ukraine. I mean, what a load of absolute crap, you know.
Well, if she does that,
send your own kids.
Let her go first.
Like the Russians, you know.
And then maybe you know, someone else will follow. But if you need to say things like that, you need to put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
And walk your own walk.
Exactly. The whole Tory party is founded on Russian money as well. I mean, it is so. This is what I mean. Don't allow the logical mind to kick in about it. It's just like, because it's not logical.
No,
it's like a huge.
But unfortunately, we base our truths on the information we get fed wherever you seek your info. So, you know, God, we don't. I don't know. Your mind just boggles when you think about the information that we get fed and what is the actual truth compared to the truth that we're kind of led to believe. So, I mean, it's even as simple as like, you know, Bruce Lipton, Biology of Belief, you know, he's changed science, yet our kids won't get taught that. Our kids still believe in the old paradigm of science, where some guys, you know, researchers broken through the old paradigm, but that will never hit our textbooks in my child's lifetime, probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think this is, I agree, but I think that Pluto going through the last degrees of Capricorn, where he's really strong, is breaking down, but also he's, as Lord of the Underworld, he's bringing that all up and he's showing us, you know, so there always has been this degree of crap, but now we can see it and it's just mind-boggling. I mean, I was watching a documentary the other day, a very long documentary, so I won't recommend it, but it was, you know, the whole dinosaur thing is bollocks, you know. Dinosaurs did not roam the earth.
Right.
And yet that's taught it. There is not one single real dinosaur bone in any museum anywhere in the world.
Oh, wow.
They're all made of resin. And, you know, they say that the real bones are kept in air, you know, the right air conditions, or locked away. No one can apply to see any real dinosaur bones in these, like, you know, places that they're supposed to hold them. And there's lots of evidence that shows that, you know, the whole dinosaur thing was just a big money-making thing by a lot of explorers at the time. And
right, okay.
I mean, our whole history is up for grabs at the moment. We've been sold a dud on so many levels, and this is Pluto revealing everything. And this is why we're on this quest. When you start realizing that we've got quicksand beneath our feet, all you can do is just trust in a higher power. All you can do is just trust in yourself.
Yeah,
get those lightsabers out, people.
Yeah.
You are the force.
Yeah, I mean, Greg Braden, I mean, Lynn McTaggart, the field, Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton, you know, they all do their own, they all have the manpower to do their own research and prove science beyond, you know, doubt that this is the new paradigm. But yeah, it's not then in the news, you know, it's not then, right, we need to rewrite the textbooks because that's false information that we're teaching to our children. We need to give them the new information of actually what the truth actually is about your brain and your body and your cells. But no, because that's going to cost too much money. So we're going to keep feeding you the lies, and that's what you're going to grow up to believe. And if you think any different, then you're a weirdo.
Exactly. Your tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy.
Yeah, when actually we're not weirdos at all. There's actually a lot. The science now backs up quantum physics, Nassim Haramein, all of the top scientists back up what we are, which is literally empty space, energy, vibration, and frequency, and that's as far as they've got at the moment. Because they're limited.
So when people are saying trust the science, trust the science.
You know,
that's the science of an old paradigm, but also a very bastardized paradigm. You know, so it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's mind-blowing. But I mean,
it's science. But you know, why would you want to trust something that's limited? Electricity was around before it was discovered.
Exactly.
You know. So anyway. So let's see who's left. If you've got a question for us around an area of your life for this this new moon happening in Pisces, or anything we've discussed, let us know, because Nicola and I like to tag team and see what's
a few cards.
We'll have to run a course together. If anybody wants Nicola and I to run a course together, let us know what you'd like to learn from the pair of us.
I've got a good course coming up.
Yeah? What is it?
Which I'm going to push.
Yeah.
It's basic astrology, but it's a learn at your own pace thing with a weekly live. So you get me for 2 hours every week on Zoom.
Real?
Just talking, chatting astrology. So that starts on the solstice.
That's good. I've done that.
Not solstice, spring equinox. Have
I done that one with you?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just delivering it in a different way, really.
I might do it again because I enjoyed it. So I definitely recommend. Give me the link and I'll show it.
And there's a sliding scale of fees from kind of waged, low wage to unwaged as well. So I'll put the link for that in the chat.
Okay.
Any questions, peeps?
Yeah. So Lucy's saying she wants to be an entity release case study. Yeah, cool. She's not sure what the question is. Sarah says, is this job going to work out for me this time?
Is this job going to work out for me this time? Is this job? This time. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go on.
I think you're feeling quite undecided about it. I've got to be honest. I've got the 2 of Wands there. Whenever you get 2, it's always like a path. It's either I go this way, I'll go that way. So I don't know whether you had choices about whether you do this, but then I've got Saturn, which is the World card there. And the World card is often endings and new beginnings. So it could be talking about this new beginning. But then I've got the 6 of Wands. And 6 is a number of, grace after difficulty in a way. It's a very Venusian number. So it's saying that, yes, it is. But over and above the cards, I just feel like there's something else that's bubbling away for you this year. So I think it'll be kind of better, but then there's something else. Now, I don't know whether that something else is just something you'll do as a sideline or a hobby, but it's something that really speaks to your spirit. And so keep an open mind about whatever that else thing is, especially around the mid-year.
Yeah, I've got the 2 of Pentacles there, so it's about choice. So 6 of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, and then 2 of Pentacles. So I would say maybe the job maybe rushed in, and then you're kind of questioning, is this what I want? And maybe there's definitely going to be a different opportunity that comes your way.
Yeah, 8 is a number of like the lemnis, what do you call it? Infinity symbol.
Yeah.
Going round and round. So there's elements of this job that you've done before. It's not a huge break away from, but I think there's something that comes in that's like out of that comfort zone.
Okay.
So yeah.
So our Jo, saying that she'd love to learn astrology. Okay, brilliant. We'll give you Nicola's details. Lucy says, can I have insight on where I should focus my attention? What's coming up, please?
You should focus your attention. Focus your attention. Focus your attention.
So I've got the World card. So this is about accomplishment. So I think this is looking at where your next level of growth is. Like, are you working towards something? Do you feel like you've accomplished something? Is there something you need to accomplish? 7 of Pentacles is kind of looking at what she's kind of manifesting in a way, like in the earthly plane. So are you happy with what you've created? You've got the Seven of Cups, so it's asking you to look at, is this emotionally fulfilling you? And then the King of Pentacles again, so it's about kind of about how you kind of earn your crust, how you make your money. Does it feel good to you the way that money's coming to you? Are you in control of it? Could represent a male figure as well, but it's more about what you're creating, what's manifesting in your reality. Is it making you happy? Do you feel accomplished with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get that vibe as well. And 7 is a number of Neptune. And so there's something there that's very unclear. And I kind of got that when I turn these cards over. I've got the 8 of Wands, which is it's actually a card in other decks of something moving in a very positive direction. But in this particular deck that I'm using, you can see that that bird is kind of trying to fly through kind of like slings and arrows. And you know, it just feels like there's been a period of difficulty. And then I've got a 7, I've got the 7 of Wands. So again, it's not being sure about direction. And that feels, that's coming through very strongly. And I think that was strong in Anne-Marie's reading. But then I've got the Sun. So the Sun is very much a card of, I mean, we're coming into you know, the new equinox with the, you know, the spring, in the spring, which is when this, you know, it's the start of the new year. I think just kind of focus on at the moment yourself, focus on feeling whole, focus on doing things that's good for you, instead of trying to rush something or rush through something and not being clear. I think that once we get that new energy of the spring, I think that everything will coalesce for you.
Yeah. Sarah says she has done the job before at a different level and she feels it will open doors. So thanks both. Yeah, good. Joe says, just started. So Joe's one of our quantum holographic echo healing trainers. So you'll have to let us know about your dates, get people on for you. She's just started a new project within the business. So some insights into that would be great.
New project within the business, new project. I can start here. I've got the 10 of Wands.
Yeah.
There. So 10 of Wands is an ending and a new completion, because it's, you know, when you get 10, it's you add the 1 and the 0 together, so it's an ending, but then it's a new beginning, starting again. And it just feels like a lot of hard work. And it also feels like there's something that maybe you need to wrap ends up of. You know, Pisces, being the last sign of the zodiac, is a time to close things down. So if there's something that's still dogging you and kind of, you know, in your mind, it's taking up headspace and it's taking up energetic space. But then I've got the Star, which is a very Aquarian card. And so I think this is again relating to this Mars Venus in Aquarius from Sunday, and it's followed by the Hermit. So there's some kind of healing energy coming out around that. Now, I don't know whether that's healing for you particularly, but this is not, I feel, work related. So there's a lot of stuff that's kind of, I don't know whether, and this is something that's just, you know, a possibility, the stuff that isn't closed down for you, that isn't, you haven't drawn a line under yet, that might be causing a bit of anxiety, or just kind of tripping you up a little bit, that's not allowing you to fully focus on what it is, that this new beginning, this new dawn for you. And I would definitely try, and there's a bit of anxiety there around you at the moment, quite potentially, especially with the Hermit. The Hermit is a card of Virgo, and Virgo is known for these kind of like nervous dispositions. So try taking something like just to calm everything down, to make you more productive. There's a herb called ashwagandha. Really good to take that, or lemon balm or rose, any of those. just to kind of feel calm and centered and back in the heart energy. And then it'll allow you sort of like a clear path to do what you need to do.
Yeah, because I get the strength card, so that's an overall theme. So this is about probably where you really show up in the world. So it's related to the sun, your creativity, your motivation. But then we've got the Seven of Swords, so it's like there's something you're not quite seeing around it, or maybe there's just something a little bit not quite seeing something around that. That you might want to just make sure you've covered all bases. Then you've got your Three of Pentacles, about making money, and the Six of Pentacles. So they're really good cards, aren't they? That that's like how you kind of bring the money in. But that Seven of Swords might just be saying, if there's any contracts involved, or if you're involved with anybody else, you might just want to just make sure all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. What would you say on that?
Yeah, Three of Pentacles to me is always about, because you're looking at the top of that Kabbalistic tree. So you're looking at energy that is not, it's ideas, it's creative thought, but it's not grounded yet.
Yeah.
And then 6 again is a number of Venus. So there's a lot of creative potential energy there, but it's not grounded yet. It's not reached, Kether. It's not reached Malkuth. It's not reached the ground. It's not, bedded down yet.
Yeah.
So, free your mind up, calm your mind down, calm your nervous system down, and it will work wonders. There's so many, and that's true for all of us at the moment. We're all being so distracted and pulled around that, there's times where we just kind of, I went off the other night. I'm very aware of everything that's going on. And then I started reading around all this new legislation that they're trying to bring in around mandatory thingies, and laws being superseded, and I lost it for an hour the other night, so I had to go and take some herbs.
Oh wow.
I don't mean illegal herbs, to calm everything down.
You'll have to let me know more about that offline. Rebecca said she'd love to know more about astrology too. She's drawn to it at the moment, so that's good.
It's a real, it's not it kind of is everything, but it's a real guiding force. It's a real guiding light. It's to me, it's got me through the last 2 years, because it's been able to kind of show me that there is a structure and a rhyme and a reason for everything, and that we are going through these spiritual awakenings. And so it just doesn't feel like, I think when people are out of touch with their spirituality, or don't believe that there is a grand plan to everything, that's when we start freaking out.
Yeah, let's do an overall message then.
Last one.
Okay, so that's interesting, Jo. So that's Seven of Swords, just based on what she's saying back. She said it's very interesting. She doesn't feel anxious, but she's been approached to engage in a new project, which is exciting, but doesn't completely sit well with me, but has the potential to deliver financial rewards. Definitely the financial rewards are there, but there's something in that which you haven't quite
reconciled,
seen for the truth. So with that Seven of Swords, it can be disillusionment, it can be hoodwinking, it can be suspicion, it can be thieving,
all not giving you all the info.
So go back, review the situation and the contract, and just really make sure that there's no hoodwinking involved. And obviously, if you need to ask Nicola and I if we can go deeper with anything like that, then obviously Nicola's available for readings, and I can certainly help you out with anything as well. So the overall thingy-majiggy bob I get is Justice. So the major arcana is justice. So that's very Libran, isn't it? It's all about like the balance in the balance of the status quo. And then I get Knight of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, and Knight of Wands. So money. And then Knight of Wands, inspiration, moving forward.
Yeah, fire. I mean, that brings in a lot of fire energy around things. You know, it's not a page, so it's kind of like, it's not an initial reaction. It's something that is now released that you're able to move forward with.
Yeah. So quite positive in a way. Balance, see things fairly, make sure they're all balanced up. About making money, having your creature comforts and your home comforts, and maybe you need to take some new ideas, new inspiration on things.
So mine is the Three of Cups.
Nice.
I'm not quite sure what those are supposed to be.
They look like teddy bears.
They look like I'm not sure what the hell they are. Anyway, Three of Cups is about unity with others, and I think that's so important at the moment, especially with all this energy moving into Aquarius. You know, that's about the connections that we have and the connections we're about to have, especially Five of Wands during times of conflict. You know, I do think that the conflict is about to ramp up. So I think that, you know, the only way, you know, that we can kind of navigate that is by finding other people. And Page of Swords, take these ideas that you have at the moment and make them, you know, because if not now, when? If we're not going to do something that's really kind of like, oh God, I've always wanted to do that. I absolutely, you know, oh, I used to do that when I was a kid, and I really, when are you going to do it? You know, tomorrow is not guaranteed. And we need to get comfortable with that, and we need to get in a good place about that. But it's kind of like, you know, do the things that you've been putting off now. Do the things you've been putting off now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you. All right, ladies, so we'll love you and leave you. We'll be back on again soon, and we'll post details of where you can find Nicola and where you can find my courses. And yeah, you know, just go forward with your own spiritual development, because it helps you look after you in time.
And if your heart isn't in it, don't do it.
Yeah. Take care for now, ladies.